Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our series of Be Awesome and Go Big, a transition series looking at your move from primary school into secondary school. This third session is called Dare to Take Risks, and this one's really important to me because I really believe that by taking risks and trying new things, we are constantly improving and getting better. If we don't take risks, if we don't try something different, we're never going to grow into the successful person we want to become. This is the last session where we're going to hear from Matthew Syed before we introduce you to Matthew Burton in the next session. Gemma's here all the way through, and we're going to hear from both of those a little later in this series. So in session 2, we decided that we wanted to have a growth mindset, which we discussed was the secret to success. And when we asked the question, what's holding me back? The answer was often a fixed mindset. We agreed that to be awesome, we need to be brave and not be afraid of fear. You're going to think about what you could do to overcome a fixed mindset and not let it creep in and hold you back. So this is Matthew Syed for the last time to introduce today's session. If you are reading the book You Are Awesome alongside the sessions, then you can now read all the way through to the end. You don't have to do it all in one go because it's a big old chunk of text. And again, if you're not reading the books, it's not a problem. You can access these sessions just the same as everybody else. So pause this video, watch Matthew, and then come back to this video in a moment. Fantastic, well done. And a big thank you to Matthew for guiding us through these first few sessions. This idea of failure being our friend, this idea of failure being a good thing is so important, and it's really what we're going to look at throughout this session. If I take the analogy of learning to ride a skateboard, everybody falls off the skateboard the first time they try it. Everybody, even the most famous skateboarders on the planet. And then they have two choices. They either get back on and practice and get better, or they just give up. Which kind of person are you going to be? Because that initial failure of falling off doesn't determine that you're never going to be able to do it. You might go on to be the most famous skateboarder ever, but if you don't get back on and don't keep practicing, that's never going to happen, is it? So have you ever had a dream? It's really good to have dreams and goals, ambitions and aspirations in life, not just for jobs, but things you want to learn, things you want to be successful at, and how you want secondary school to go. It's important to dream big and not be afraid to fail. So what does that mean? It means don't be too scared to try things. It means take chances and take risks. It means be fearless. Don't worry about getting something wrong, because when you get something wrong, you learn from it and get it right the next time. So what are your hopes and dreams for secondary school? You're going to be there from when you're 11 years old to either 16 or 18. And a lot is going to change for you in that time. In your workbook, I want you to have a go at writing down your thoughts about the following. What do you hope you're going to achieve in secondary school? What kind of person do you hope you're going to become? And I want you to write down 3 words that you hope people will say about you. If you don't have the workbook, then on a piece of paper is fine. Pause this video now and have a go at writing down answers to those questions. Awesome, well done. If you haven't managed to have a go at that, you can pause this video for longer and have a go. It's really important for you to be thinking about your answers to those questions, because that's you planning for your future, having dreams and aspirations. So would you say that you're scared of failure? What are you worried about failing in secondary school? Well, a lot of Year 6 students that I speak to say some of the following. They're worried about not making friends. They're worried about not being able to do the work, and they're worried that they won't know where to go. Each of those things we're going to cover in upcoming sessions and really help you through answering those questions and feeling more confident. But each one of us is going to be scared of failure at some point in our lives. But sometimes fear can stop us from doing things and growing. It can stop us from achieving our goals and dreams if we let that fear take over. So why do we fear failure? Sometimes it's because we don't want to feel stupid. We don't want to be teased or made fun of by others. We don't want to disappoint ourselves or other people. We don't want to be a loser or called names. Often, those things that people might say or how we might feel is them not feeling comfortable with themselves making those improvements to their lives, trying things, taking risks and having a growth mindset. We shouldn't worry about what other people think if we're trying the best for ourselves. So as you go to secondary school, you might worry about not getting things right first off. Might be worried about not knowing what to do, or worried about getting lost, worried about not doing very well on tests, worried that you might not make friends, worried about saying or doing the wrong things. Not all of these things are failures. You can always start again, keep trying. Everybody is there to help you. All the other year 6 pupils coming into year 7 will have these same worries and these same fears. And it's really important to remember that everybody's in the same boat and we're all learning together. And your teachers and we are there to help you and guide you through those worries that you might have. So how can you view failure differently? And remember, we've talked about unlocking our mind, having a growth mindset to view things like failure differently. You can start to see failure as an incredible learning experience and one that you have to have in order to get better. Look for a lesson that you've learned each time that you've failed at something. If we go back to the skateboard, have you learned how not to fall off the next time? Or by falling off, did it help you to learn a particular trick? Can you know that mistakes are going to help you to grow and move forward? And always remember that. So do you know where learning actually happens? Learning happens from practice, from getting it wrong, trying again, practice, practice, practice. Serena Williams is an incredibly famous tennis player, the most famous and celebrated female tennis player of all time. She started playing tennis when she was just 3 years old, and she played for 2 hours a day. She loved tennis and it was her passion, and over time she made many mistakes but practiced for thousands of hours. She didn't pick up a tennis racket at 3 years old and win Wimbledon. She picked up a tennis racket at 3 years old and started playing tennis and started a journey to practicing so that she could win Wimbledon. So everything is about practice. If we look at Mozart, most famous composer in history, he was a child prodigy and a composer. He started composing pieces for the violin and piano by the age of 6, and he was a musical genius. However, Mozart's father put him through hours of musical training from the age of 3. So by the time Mozart was 6, he'd been put through around 3,500 hours of practice. Again, he didn't sit at a piano at the age of 3 and start composing the most wonderful music. He learned how to do it and he got it wrong. We're going to hear another couple of stories now from some famous people who are at the absolute top of their game, but failed at times. So this is where looking at the idea of choking here, and we'll talk more about this in a bit, but it's when somebody is under pressure and feel nervous, that adrenaline is pumping through your veins and you suddenly find it hard to think straight or how to do things that you've done many times before, something that you're good at that goes wrong. So Rory McIlroy, a very famous golfer, at the 2011 Masters, a hugely important golfing competition, McIlroy played a dazzling game, leading the way for the majority of the tournament. He looked set to scoop a great victory, but then the choke. In the last round, the pressure became too much to bear and McIlroy's game collapsed. He missed or fumbled so many shots that not only did he lose his lead, he ended up finishing the whole tournament in 15th place instead of first. Now, Rory McIlroy could have given up after that because it all went wrong. That was a failure. However, he didn't. He went on, he practiced, he fixed those mistakes, and he went on to win many, many, many more tournaments after that. Let's have a look at somebody else. This is Jay-Z, who I'm sure many of you have heard about. Married to Beyonce, incredibly famous music producer and musician in his own right. So, as in the millions of records sold, multiple Grammy award-winning rapper, the multi-millionaire businessman, the man who even managed to marry Beyonce. Yeah, that's Jay-Z. Not only is Jay-Z one of the most successful musicians of all time, he also owns a record label, has numerous clothes lines, a drinks company, a tech company, his own music streaming service, and he married Beyonce, of course. So he had moments where he was deemed a failure. Well, in the music business, it can be tough to crack, as Jay-Z discovered when he first started out. The young hip-hop artist struggled to find a record label that would back him. No one would give him a break. But rather than give up, Jay-Z sold his CDs out of his car before founding his own record label, and the rest is history. Not only did he create a launchpad for his own music, he also went on to become one of the world's most successful business visionaries and responsible for the careers of stars including Rihanna. And he said, "I will not lose, for even in defeat, there's a valuable lesson learned. So it evens up for me. You learn more in failure than you ever do in success." And what an important point. You learn more in failure than you ever do in success. Sometimes we all choke in pressurized situations. It's the kind of failure that results from overthinking, thinking too much. It can happen when you're in a pressured situation, such as an exam or a sports match. For example, you might be so worried about how to get somewhere that you forget for a moment how you get there. You might forget the journey, you might forget everything about it. And that happens to all of us. So let's have a look at some top tips from Matthew on how to deal with that panic under pressure. First off, tell yourself that how you feel is normal. Everybody gets anxious. Go for a walk, shake your arms, burn off that excess adrenaline. Number two, focus on your breathing. Going from being fine to a state of anxiety can trigger you into a panic. Deep breaths in, released out slowly can really help you to calm. Number three, try not to overthink. Try to zone out from where you are and what you're doing and focus on the task itself so that you can be on autopilot. Number four, put things into perspective. Remember, life will continue. No matter how you do or what the outcome is, it's just a challenge and a learning opportunity. Do your best. Number five might be to do a ritual which calms you or focuses you. Something that you do before that task and you repeatedly do it so it becomes a habit. This could be listening to music, could be reading a particular quote, could be doing some breathing or visualizing a particular outcome. Number six, keep trying. Performing under pressure is a skill. The more you do it, the better you'll get. Don't let a meltdown put you off or give up. Keep working, keep pushing on. And don't be afraid to fail. And here's how. We need to change our attitude about failing. Remember that we've got to make mistakes to learn and get better. We need to understand that some things in life are hard and that they take work. That's just the nature of life. If we give up every time something gets difficult, we'll never get anything out of life. We have to keep a positive mind, even when you get setbacks, when you feel like you're not doing very well. Keep positive, talk to people, let other people help and guide you. And ultimately, we try and try again. So let's think again about failure. It's how we learn. It's how we become determined to do things. I want you to just pause this video for a minute and think about something that didn't go quite as you'd expected. It can be in school or outside of school. What did you learn from it? I want you to just jot that down in your workbook or on a piece of paper, and we'll come back to that later. Well done. It's difficult to think of those things, but we've all had setbacks, we've all had failures, and it's really important that we learn from them. Finally, then, we're going to hear from Gemma. So again, I want you to pause this video and watch Gemma's video below. Once you've watched it, come back and we'll finish this session off. Fantastic. And it's so important hearing from Gemma and hearing her experiences. And we thank her again for her input in these sessions. So finally, just to wrap up this third session, remember, give everything your best shot, your best effort, even if it results in failure. And hopefully by the end of this, we've got that into our brains that failure is a good thing. It helps us to learn, and it means that we are trying hard to be the most awesome version of ourselves. I'll see you back here for the next session soon. Take care. Bye-bye.